Well, good morning, and thank you for joining me and just looking at Calvary Christian High School and an example of lateral design at your school. Mickey Ebert and myself have been working together for this presentation, and we're thankful for the opportunity to prepare and give you an inside look on this business design. What is the lateral design? Lateral design takes place when the leader, and in this case, the leader of the school would be the head of school. And we'll look more intricately in a moment at the influence of the church. But lateral design takes place when the leader is intricately involved in the creation of organizational goals, the staffing of the organizational goals, the funding of the organizational goals, and the setting of the organizational goals. So lateral design, in its essence, is a top-down approach. For CCHS, the head of the school is going to have his influences and his leadership influencing everything that you see in the lateral design. Now, it breaks down a little bit to help us out in understanding how does the lateral design work then? Lateral design makes everything in the organization more cohesive, or if I can put it this way, bonding. It's like glue. So we begin to see the cohesiveness because of the leadership, in this case, the head of the school. The design is specific that every part, the staffing, the fundraising, the scope and mission, everything is influenced by the leadership. Lateral design necessitates scope and mission to be defined by the leadership. Lateral design allows groups to be created for specific problem-solving issues. We'll see that in a few moments. And in a single business setting, lateral design allows for very little crossover in decision-making processes. So CCHS is a single business strategy. It has a mission, it has a vision, and even in that single business, just so that you can understand from the mission statement, one of those missions is to reach out to, we are a college preparatory institution. So in the business structure, in the mission, we have a single scope mission or a single consumer in that mission, not a trade school, not looking for people that will go into the trades after graduation, but it is a college preparatory institution. So there's very little crossover in the decision-making processes because everybody, as you will see, and every part of the organization is headed in the same direction. Therefore, conflict resolution is managed within the scope of unified goals and mindset. So let's take a look just for a few moments at how this lateral design would work at CCHS. What is viewed here on the template is you see Calvary Church of Clearwater. To the right, as you look at Calvary Church Clearwater, their mission is leading people to dynamic life in Christ. So this mission filters out through every quote-unquote ministry of Calvary Church. The leadership structure of Calvary Church is to your left. The pastor, the deacons, supporting pastors, and supporting staff. As you look at the continuation of the flow of organizational structure, you then see the Calvary Christian High School logo. The mission, as we read last week, is available, but it's a little bit longer. So the mission of CCHS, College Preparatory Institution, for young people to apply biblical worldview in their lives and apply academic so that they can be successful in a biblical worldview, in a career, and making sure that they are able to do that. So what do we look at in the structure to the left? You have an administrator or head of school. You have the board, which is very important for us to understand here. Our board for this nonprofit is set up as an advisory board. The head of school does let the board know of decisions and does at times want the board's input when a staffing issue comes up, a legal issue, financial. The board does approve certain things or shows support by votes of certain decisions. After the board, you have the assistant principal, and then you have directors, and then supporting staff, which would be administrative staff or teachers. So we have 4 pillars at Calvary Christian High School. You have academics, which is led by an academic committee. You have the arts, which is led by a fine arts department. You have athletics, which is led by an athletic department. And then you have attitude, or the spiritual nature of a child or student, and that is led by a student life department. So all of these different committees or departments, the head of school is directly involved in the managing of each one. And so as we close today, how do we look at lateral design and how the head of school has input in each one of these areas? You see the 4 pillars placed there, and those 4 pillars are academics, arts, athletics, and attitude. So the head of school makes statements and has direct influence into each one of these pillars. This is lateral design. We're working together. It's a top-down approach, and the head of school speaks into each one of these areas with the mission, the staffing, the funding. And so you see this working out, even though this is a square. So let's just, for the sake of definition, academics does not, in this goal here, or this template, these don't trump each other. These are the 4 pillars. And so academics, arts, athletics, and attitude. So at Calvary Christian High School, the head of school is in each department meeting, as you see here. Each department committee, the head of school is there and available, and continually helps the design, helps the mission and focus help to be seen. So the head pastor of the church gives the authority to the head of school. The head of school, interestingly enough, is on pastor staff at the church. And the head of school is the voice of Calvary Christian High School. Calvary Christian High School continues to have the continual influence of the head of school, but the head of the church, the pastor, does very little in influencing the decisions of the church. Is it a top-down approach? It is, but the authority has been given to the head of school. So each one of these areas is influenced by the head of school for mission, for staffing, for funding, for a couple other areas of conflict resolution, and all of these things work out so that we see a lateral design of influence in a single business strategy model. And that single business is we are focused on the mission of Calvary Christian High School under the umbrella of Calvary Church, leading people to dynamic life in Christ, so that we can produce young people who are going out into the world. And so this management structure is very helpful to understand as we move forward for the growth of Calvary Christian High School. Mickey and I appreciate your attention, and thank you for taking the time for watching this today.